I'm going through the numbers here, and I'm reacting to this in real time, so I've only had a chance to really dive into the numbers for the last 3 minutes, but it is not a good jobs report coming in this morning at all. 12,000 jobs added last month. The expectations from economists were for 100,000 new jobs. On top of that, the last 2 months have been revised down by 112,000 jobs. So it seems like every month these numbers get revised down. That's happening once again. This jobs report of 12,000 is the lowest since December of 2020. Now, of course, they're blaming in some cases hurricanes and a Boeing strike, which had economists predicting a weaker jobs report, but they had already baked that into the cake for why they thought there'd only be 100,000 versus maybe 150 or 200,000. But it comes in at 12,000, John.
The Chiefs created 2 jobs in signing DeAndre Hopkins and Joshua Uche.
Yes.
Oh, no, we got to revise that because those jobs just moved from one team to the other.
Well, that's a good point.
That's
Look
the
at
way
you.
they do that stuff.
That's how you screw around with the numbers, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to read this from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. This is on their website. So this is the official release from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And they put out here, total non-farm payroll employment was essentially unchanged in October, plus 12,000. Unemployment rate unchanged at 4.1%. So I'm going through this in the last couple of minutes, and here are some of the things that stood out to me. Where did the jobs come from? Well, the same 2 places that most of the jobs have come from over the last several years under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Healthcare and the government. Healthcare added 52,000 jobs in October. That's in line with the average monthly gain of 58,000 over the past 12 months. And employment in government continued its upward trend, plus 40,000. The government remains one of the biggest job creators in the country under this administration. That's in line with the average monthly gain of 43,000 over the past 12 months. So we are basically buying jobs. The private sector is buying the jobs report. It is inflating the jobs report. I believe that we should not even count government jobs in the jobs report because the government doesn't actually create anything. The government takes money from the private sector and then basically just makes up positions. And where is the bulk of these jobs coming from in government? It is coming from state government. This is from the Bureau of Labor Statistics.gov website. Over the month, employment continued to trend up in state government, plus 18,000 jobs. So that is at the state level. You've seen 18,000 jobs created over the past month. That's 360 on average, 360 jobs per state at the state level of government. Not federal government, state level of government. So as they continue to take more money via property tax, income tax, sales tax, everything else, they're just adding jobs. Instead of saying, hey, what do we actually need to operate around here? They're just hiring people. It's why inflation isn't actually a bad thing if you want to see government grow. It's a little dirty secret that doesn't get enough attention. If you have inflation that goes up, let's say, 20% in the last 4 years, well, what does that mean? Sales taxes. Sales tax revenue goes up 20% over that same period of time, right? Because sales taxes, whatever they are, depending on where you're at, 7, 8, 9, 10%, well, they're getting 20% more in revenues. So it's a great windfall for the government. Inflation does not hurt those who want to see government grow because their revenues go up. Now, you might buy less, so there might be not as much in some cases. Like you might hold off on buying certain luxury items that may have sales taxes attached to it. But when it comes to most things like food, basic services, if the cost goes up and there's sales tax attached to it, you have no choice. Like you got to eat, you got to put a roof over your head. So it's a dirty little secret of inflation at large. So that's where you're seeing a lot of these jobs come in. And overall, you're seeing a disappointing report and you're seeing a revision down for the last two jobs reports, combining with 112,000 fewer jobs. Initially, the reported numbers show that the U.S. added 254,000 jobs in September. That was just revised down by 31,000. And the August jobs report was revised down by 81,000 jobs, from 159,000 to 78,000. 8 of the last 11 jobs reports have now been revised lower. That is nearly 1 million jobs revised lower over the last 2 years. What the heck's happening here?
Wait till they revise this new number down.
Well, that's going to be ugly.
Yeah.
Now, do I sit here and think, no matter what came out of this jobs report, did I think it was going to make a huge difference come Tuesday? No, I did not believe. Like, it could have came out great, and I would have had generally the same approach in that I don't believe there's an impact on Tuesday. So I'm not going to say, well, because it's bad, that may benefit my preferred candidate. So this is the biggest deal in the world. I'm not going to say that because I don't believe that. That's disingenuous. But it does continue a theme that we have seen of jobs reports getting revised and the government being one of the largest job creators, which means we are borrowing our way to making these job numbers look halfway decent.
If they'd have been positive, there'd have been the hallelujah chorus on the legacy media.
Oh,
on the
yes.
other hand, to your point, it really wasn't going to do anything, but the legacy media would have tried to make that.
Absolutely.
But they can't.
No, if they came in with some monster jobs numbers this morning, it would have been like, the strong Biden-Harris economy marches on to election day.
It would have only taken 5,000 plus for them to do it, though.
That's true. Even if they hit the number, they would have said that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, now you're sitting here and you're like, they came in 100,000 below the number, and they revised down by 100,000 the last 2 months, 110,000 the last 2 months. The text line is 913-408-7957 as we roll till 8 o'clock on KCMO Talk Radio. Pete, I've heard that they are creating the jobs at the government level, but they're not filling them, so it shows up in the report. I don't know about that. I can't speak to that, so I'm going to speak to what I know and the facts that we have. And the facts that we have are damning enough that I won't have to go down, and we shouldn't really need to bother going down that speculative route.